Hey Joe, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So obviously the news of Amari Cooper today. Sean mentioned that he'd kind of gotten a look at 50 snaps from this season. What did you see when you took a look at him, and what do you feel like he can add to your offense?
Look, he's still a productive player. He's we're only a few games into the season, but right, anytime a guy goes for 1,200 yards, he's just a few games away from being 1,200 last year, right? So he's extremely productive. I think it's a great opportunity for him coming here and just helping our offense and just getting with Josh and getting that chemistry going. But he's a dynamic football player that still has good football in front of him, and I'm excited to get him.
What did you see from Josh yesterday, maybe compared to last week, that allowed him to be so much more efficient on schedule, and really just good?
Yeah, I think he was playing in rhythm. Just making good decisions, and I think the rest kind of takes care of itself. We were able to sustain some drives early in the game, especially that allows you to kind of feel like you're in a rhythm a little bit too. You're not just living in third downs. I think he was 10 to 12, a half. And we were 4 or 5 on third down, which allows you to kind of feel like you're in a good spot. Now, obviously, Josh made some incredible plays, in the scramble, something that we knew we were going to have to do going into it. So it wasn't like it was just a clean pocket and him just, slicing and dicing, but he was in control. His feet were where they needed to be. And, he was doing a good job executing.
And just one more, if I may. Ray Davis, when James Cook is back and healthy, how do you envision, keeping Ray Davis involved while not, trimming down the workload for James?
Yeah, I think I thought Ray came to play last night. Him and Ty did a really good job of handling the workload, and Ty started it off from the jump, and on that first one bouncing it, and then Ray did a really good job. He just felt his pads out there yesterday, and they did a good job protecting the football. And it's nothing different than we felt. Obviously, we you go back to a couple games. Ray didn't get a lot of touches, a lot of playing time, and some of that had to do with just the way that the games were shaping up. But he's deserved opportunities just like Ty does as well. We know kind of Jimbo's our lead dog, and obviously we're gonna ride behind him. But Ray and Ty just both show that we can still operate on an offense, with them running the football.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey Joe, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Good. I wanted to go back to Amari Cooper for a bit. I know you talked about his production, but just what is it about his skill set that you think still leads to that kind of production now? Like what stands out to you?
Well, I think his him in releases, his ability to create separation. He does such a great job at that. He's such a student of the game. He's a smart guy. Adams obviously coached him in his career, and he played with Teddy Bridgewater in high school. So and being from South Florida, I've obviously followed Amari for a while, and Coach and Teddy used to always talk about him, just the type of how cerebral he is, and how he understands leverages and how to attack it, and really good, strong hands. And so he has a unique skill set, something that with some traits of guys that we have on our team, some that we don't. And it'll be excited to be able to work with him and figure out how it's all going to kind of work in our offense.
You mentioned how important it'll be for him to get that chemistry with Josh. What are some ways, or are there ways that you can kind of fast track that when, you have a short week and you want to get him involved this season right away? Just like, what can y'all do to make sure that's happening?
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret recipe, right? But I think it's just the communication and going out and practice and making sure you're staying after and getting some of the reps and learning the body language and kind of, hey, this is how I see this. Tell me how you see this, and that takes time, right? I know a lot of people think it's just a simple plug and place, and at the end of the day, you're throwing and catching, but there is a lot more to it. And so whenever he gets here, we'll kind of, get the ball rolling, and, obviously hoping that there's progression as the season goes.
Thanks.
Hey, Joe, Sunday marks Josh Allen's 100th career start. Since coming to Buffalo and being a part of the offense as a coach, where have you seen him grow the most?
It's all over the place. I mean, his just command and his feel and understanding how defenses are playing and how they're playing him. We can sit there and game plan all the time and say, hey, this is what these guys are doing. But the reality of it is it's always different with him, how they defend him and him just understanding. You can watch on tape of how you think people are going to play you, but you come out on the field and you just sort through it and how he's able to just see it and diagnose it so fast. And, um, it's impressive. And I think a lot of what he does goes unnoticed. And it's, I don't know if people truly appreciate all the things that he actually does for this game and obviously for our football team. And but you see a night like that where there's nothing quote unquote sexy about what he did, but man, he was so efficient and made plays with his feet. Did some checks that got us into the right coverages, and at the end of the game, kind of figures it out. It's just kind of who he is, and at the end of the day, we got Josh Allen as our quarterback. I mean, good things are going to happen, and we're always going to rely on him. And I know it's a 100th game, but these next 100 games, I can only imagine what they're going to look like.
Definitely. And Sunday also is a game against a tough Titans defense. They're the number one in the NFL in terms of what they're allowing in yards per game, the best pass defense in the NFL. How do you get ready? It seems like every single week it's been a top 10 defense. How do you guys get ready for another talented defense coming in here?
Yeah, no, I think it seems like feel like ever since I've taken over, we go in our personnel or advanced meetings. They're like, all right, here we go. This is the number 3 defense. This is the number 2 defense. It's kind of how the NFL is, right? And you don't really get time to think about the last game and what went well, and you're just sitting there like, all right, we got the best defense in the NFL coming into our house, and we got to be on a short week, and we got to be ready to go. And so it's not easy, but these are the weeks you just got to trust your players and just rely on not having to make it anything different than it needs to be, and trusting that whether they're the number 1 team or the 32nd team, we got to take care of control what we can control and come out and play in our execution and our details. And so just allowing them to play fast and not trying to overthink it in a week like this.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, Joe. Had one more actually. I was just wondering about Khalil Shakir. Obviously was working through the injury, coming back this week and everything, but just do you learn anything about him when he's going through adversity like that and still able to be ready for a game? I know somewhat limited snap count, but just like, what did you learn about him this week?
He's as tough as it gets, but I mean, the way that you watch him play football, that's how he is, getting ready to find a way. Like he knows, hey man, my ankle is going to hurt a little bit and it is what it is. I'll be able to kind of go through it and not think about it. And, there's only so much he was able to play, and it's only going to get better as it goes. But, to not take any reps and just get the mindset and the mind ready to go of, hey, I'm going to be good and not think about it. And while it was limited, we knew if there was an opportunities that we had to get him involved in, maybe some of those third downs or, some of the off schedule plays in the game that he was going to make plays. And that's what he did. And it's kind of who he is. It's the character. You guys know how I feel about Khalil.
Thanks.
Hey Joe, I was curious with Amari from your perspective as the offensive coordinator and on a short week, like adding someone new like this from getting him up to speed on the play calls. Like, how do you go about that, getting him as ready as possible to play, especially on a short week?
Yeah, we'll see. Figure out what time he gets here, and part of the game planning process, and seeing what he can handle if he can handle anything this week. And so we'll just kind of go from there. It's not set any expectations, just see what he can handle, what he can be comfortable with, what Josh can be comfortable with him. If it's this week, it's this week. If it's next week, it's next week. And it's kind of early in the process to figure it out until we can kind of start working with them and talking with them.
Mm-hmm. And then I was curious, this is the longest stretch Josh has gone without throwing an interception in his career. Is there anything that you attributed to why you think he's having success not turning the ball over this year?
I think there's a lot of things. Obviously, I think it's important to him protecting the football. Now anytime you don't, you got to have some luck involved in the quarterback position, right? Like there's some times where guys, He's had some that have been in turnover worthy plays. It's the reality, but that happens in the NFL. But he's doing a really good job in being intentional about protecting the football and not playing scared or anything about that. But when we protect the football, we have a high chance of winning the football game, and he's doing a great job at that. And we got to continue that. Playing smart, just playing within the system, and not doing anything different than he needs to. And I think he sees what that looks like, and he can be aggressive and still protect the football, and that's what I think he's doing.
Thanks, Joe.
George is still muted.
Okay, let me unmute myself. I thought it said you unmute now. Okay. But all right, Coach, how you doing this afternoon? George Radney, Challenger Community News.
How you doing, George? I'm good, man.
Great. As long as I learn this mute or unmute thing. But on your side, with someone of Amari Cooper's stature, if someone of that caliber coming in, how does that affect the other receivers? How does that enhance their play on the field?
I think you hope, you trust Brandon Beane that, he's bringing in a guy like Amari, and it's just going to benefit everybody, right? It's going to help Josh. It's going to help Khalil. It's going to help Keon and Mac and Curtis. It's just going to help everybody that, it's another wide receiver that, is out on the field that teams have to worry about. I don't think it has to be, kind of more than that. It's just, it's a talent, a guy that is going to help us win football games. And I think that opens up opportunities for other guys as well.
Exactly. And someone like this, when they're coming in such short notice on a trade in this type of situation, do you tend to coach up and say that, hey, the things that he's good at, you incorporate what he's good at, or vice versa, what you guys are trying to accomplish with your offensive schemes?
And we obviously have to continue to do a better job of that with a lot of our guys, but we like to think that's what we're trying to do with all of our guys, right? Is find out what they do well and try to put them in position to have success. And it's not always going to be a perfect science, and it doesn't always completely go that way. But that's the things that we're looking at is, hey, what is he, what does he lead at? What can he do, and how can that kind of fit into what we do? And sometimes it's not necessarily some things that he hasn't shown that as we get to working with the guys, it's. I think sometimes in this league, we like to say, hey, pigeonhole guys, hey, this guy can only do this. And so there'll be some things that, as we kind of get to work with them, see what he can do. A guy that's been playing this long, I'm sure he can do a little bit of everything. And so, I'm excited to be able to kind of work with him and see what he can bring to our offense.
Excellent. Last question for you. The offensive line, this was the best I've seen in the last few years of the Bills being able to run on the Jets. Was it you got incorporated a different blocking scheme or something on the offensive line? Because they really was they've been doing it all season, matter of fact, with most teams, but in particular against the Jets last night, they seem to really be moving them off the ball.
Yeah, no, it's I was pleased with how, not only how they played, but how they started. Really set the tone of the game. Us being able to kind of drive them off the football, be able to, protect against their movement, see their defense have to, end up trying to get to a lot of different adjustments, as opposed to us being the ones having to, be reactive to it. And it always will start up front. I know we have an elite quarterback, but it's always going to start with our offensive line. And when they can allow us to play two-dimensional, when they can handle the run game, and we can be able to, make teams have to stop the run, it's only going to open up our pass game and allow us more favorable looks at the pass game. And so I'm really pleased with how those guys played together. The communication was at a high level. It's been 3 straight games on the road. Those are never easy. We have to do a better job towards the end, handling some of those penalties, but I'm really pleased with how those guys played.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. Susie just said that. Why are they calling so many penalties like that? Of not being on the line of the end? Because it seemed like they never used to call that so frequently. You usually kind of see the referee kind of point to the guy, and the guy moves up. But now they just seem to be just calling it all the time now. Not on the line, and not enough men. Somebody uncovered by the tight end or the tackle, like Spencer Brown by his side. I know they were calling that a lot last night.
Yeah, look, I mean, we have to control what we can control, and there's um, we shouldn't allow it in some of those situations to where the ref can throw a flag or not. Like, let's make sure we're in legal formations. Let's control. There's going to be times where, in the sake of a play, like we can control pre-snap penalties, right? Illegal formations, false starts, like those things can't show up. Sometimes with the physicality of the way guys are playing, in the midst of a play, you can live with those. But what you can't live with is the ones that you're beating yourself, so you didn't even get the play started. And we had two drives, in the third and fourth quarter where, I mean, before I can get a play in, we were 1st and 20, and that's hard, especially against an elite defense like that. And so, I don't think it's on the refs. I think it's on us making sure we're a little more detailed and can control what we can control, and our communication at a higher level.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck this coming Sunday.
Coach Brady, Mookie Harkins, Waffle Sports 1080. Great win yesterday.
Thank you.
Care to talk about your brand of football that is giving Josh so much patience? I see a lot of patience in Josh, more than I've ever seen this year. How has your brand of football has given Josh that type of patience?
I don't think it has really anything to do with me. I think it's just another, I like to think that the two games prior weren't necessarily our brand. But I think it's just more of Josh. Again, he's another year in a system, another year in the league where just everything's just continuing to slow down. And he, a lot of the NFL, especially defensively, is kind of going in the same direction of, feel like every time I go into, the game planning process and talking with them, it's like, all right, this team is like this defense that we faced, or this team is like this. They do this, this, this. And so has a really good understanding of how teams are playing now, and not feeling like he has to do too much to be able to find ways to win the football game, and knowing that if as long as he plays with that patience or is efficient, it'll eventually open up, the looks that we ultimately are going to end up wanting. And so it's all part of the process.
Absolutely, Coach. And we know the Jets is a stout of a defense as they come. When did you get a feel for what they were trying to do to you in that ball game?
Well, I think you always have a plan of what you think that you're going to get going into it, right? And we knew the style of play. Obviously, when you're the head coach is the defensive coordinator, right? And so, we knew we didn't know what we were going to get, but we had an idea of what we were going to get early, and we knew that there was going to be adjustments, right? And so, I think our guys did a good job of handling, knowing, hey, once we have some success with this is what they're going to get to next, and making sure that we're kind of ready for it and kind of expecting it. And I think the guys did a good job of handling it. I'm kind of not frustrated, but I wish we would have finished it better in a sense of that second half, coming back to start the first drive, and then those two drives where we had a punt. Like, that's the stuff that we had an opportunity to kind of put the game away, and we didn't. And, against a great defense, and a great quarterback on the other side, you don't want to keep people involved. And I think it always starts with us. And so we had opportunities right there, and we just didn't take advantage of it. And so I know your question's about what they're doing, but so much of it is, hey, making sure that we're the ones kind of setting the tone and dictating. And we had an opportunity to do that at the end, and we got to do a better job of that.
Absolutely. Coach, one more if I can. Amari Cooper, I know he's just gotten here. How much will you get him caught up to speed, and will he be installed in the offense this week?
We will see. It's everything's so fresh and so new, and we'll see. I'd like to be able to give you a better answer than that, but I really haven't even met him yet. And so I'll have a better answer for you come Sunday. That's for sure.
Absolutely, Coach. Great win. Good luck in practice this week.
Appreciate you.